Imagine the sound. Not the roar of cannons, but the rain drumming on a soldier's coat, the squelch of boots in Belgian mud, the whispered prayers in the dark. This was June 18, 1815, the dawn of Waterloo. History often focuses on kings and generals, but the real story is found in the voices of ordinary men. Letters, diaries, raw accounts of fear and hope. These words transform the battlefield from a map into a living landscape of human emotion. Through their eyes we feel the chill, the anxiety, the anticipation before the storm. Their stories are time machines, bringing us shoulder to shoulder with those who fought and died. This journey isn't about grand strategy, but about the men who endured the unimaginable. We'll explore why they fought, what they suffered, and how Waterloo changed them forever. By listening to their voices, we find the true meaning of Waterloo, not just a turning point in history, but a deeply human tragedy and testament to resilience. Let's step back in time and hear Waterloo in their own words. Battles are often described like chess games. Wellington here, Napoleon there, but the pieces were living men, each with hopes and fears. The real story of Waterloo is in the mud and blood, a British rifleman reloading with trembling hands, a French cavalryman whispering a lover's name, a Prussian youth facing death for the first time. These personal stories are the heart of history. Letters and memoirs reveal what official reports cannot. The terror inside La Haye Sainte as cannonballs smash through walls, the chaos and courage in the ranks. Captain Cavalier Mercer wrote, "The roaring of the guns was deafening, the air filled with hissing balls and bullets." These words make us feel the battle, not just know it. By focusing on these voices, we see the true cost of command decisions. Lives held in the balance. War is not a game. It's a collection of personal struggles for survival. To understand Waterloo, we must understand the men who fought it. Their voices, preserved in fading ink, are our most powerful testimony. This is their story. Why were thousands gathered in a muddy Belgian field in 1815? For over 20 years, Europe was shaped by Napoleon's ambition, wars that redrew borders and cost millions of lives. Defeated and exiled in 1814, Napoleon escaped Elba the next year, reclaiming his throne and plunging Europe back into crisis. The Allies, Britain, Prussia, Austria, Russia, rallied to stop him once and for all. Two armies converged in Belgium, Wellington's multinational force and Blucher's Prussians. Napoleon's only hope was to strike before they united. For the soldiers, politics were distant. They were farmers, clerks, veterans, and recruits, marching toward a final reckoning. British veteran Edward Costello recalled, "The old veterans were delighted at the prospect of another slap at Boney." For many this was personal, a last act in a drama that had consumed their lives. They marched toward a showdown that would define their generation. The fate of Europe, and their own futures, hung in the balance. This was the road to Waterloo. The night before the battle, a thunderstorm turned fields to mud. Soldiers huddled in soaked uniforms, sleep impossible. Captain John Kincaid described the ground as the surface of a stormy sea. At dawn, the rain stopped, but tension remained. Exhausted, hungry, cold, the men waited. Napoleon delayed the attack, hoping the ground would dry for his cannons. For the soldiers, every minute of waiting was torture. Time to wonder who would survive the day. Sergeant William Lawrence wrote, "We did not know to a certainty that we should ever see one another again." Some wrote last letters, others shared rations or sat in silence, lost in thought. The psychological toll was immense, anticipation as agonizing as battle itself. Frenchman Jean-Baptiste Barré reflected, "The spectacle was magnificent, odd, but made one reflect on the fate of thousands." They stood on the edge of violence, acutely aware of their own mortality. At 11:30, a French cannon fired. The battle began. 9 hours of chaos followed, deafening cannonades, smoke so thick men could barely see, orders lost in the din. The fight broke into desperate struggles for places like Hougoumont and La Haye Sainte. Infantry stood in lines, as cannonballs tore through them. James Bedell recalled, "A cannonball took off the head of the man next to me." French cavalry charged, thousands of horses thundering toward walls of bayonets. Amid chaos, acts of courage emerged, like Corporal James Graham, who helped close Hougoumant's gate, saving the position. For every hero, there were countless stories of confusion and luck. Survival often came down to chance. Captain Jean-Marc Bussy, wounded, wrote, "I saw nothing but smoke, fire, and charging squadrons. I heard nothing but cries and shouts." For the men, Waterloo was not grand strategy, it was a desperate fight for life. Their world shrank to a few muddy yards, every moment a struggle to survive. The true story of Waterloo is found in these moments of chaos and courage. The battle raged on, indifferent to individual fate. For those on the ground, it was simply survival. As the sun set, the Prussians arrived and the French broke. Waterloo was over. But for survivors, a new horror began. The cries of the wounded replaced the roar of battle. 50,000 men lay dead or wounded in a few square miles. Captain John Kincaid called it the most shocking sight that can be imagined. Survivors searched for comrades, offering what help they could. Medical care was primitive. Many died from wounds or exposure. Surgeon Charles Bell wrote, "It is impossible to conceive the sufferings of the men. It is a scene of horror." Doctors worked tirelessly, but the scale of suffering was overwhelming. In the days after, mass graves were dug, and looters stripped the dead. For those who lived, the aftermath was not triumph, but profound loss. The memory of that field would haunt them forever. Surviving Waterloo was only the beginning. The journey home was grueling. Wounded men endured agonizing transport. Even the uninjured marched away in somber silence, leaving friends behind in unmarked graves. Returning home, veterans found themselves changed. Haunted by memories their families could never fully understand. Some kept souvenirs, helmets, buttons, battered cuirasses, as proof and reminders of what they'd survived. For others, the trauma was too deep to speak of. Nightmares and silence became their companions. There was no name for PTSD, only a sense of melancholy and isolation. Some veterans were celebrated, others struggled with poverty or disability. French soldiers returned to defeat and uncertainty. For all, Waterloo was a defining moment, source of pride for some, silent pain for others. The battle had ended, but its scars endured. Their lives were forever shaped by that day. 2 centuries later, Waterloo's fields are peaceful, but the most powerful connection to the past is through the words of those who were there. Their letters and diaries are not just documents, they are human testaments, voices that refuse to be forgotten. These accounts strip away the romance of war, revealing its true cost: fear, pain, confusion, loss. Sergeant William Lawrence's words about thirst and suffering tell us more than any textbook. By listening, we develop empathy for those who endured conflict, then and now. Writing was therapy for some, a duty for others, a way to ensure their experiences were remembered. When we read their words, we bear witness and keep their memory alive. These voices teach us about courage, comradeship, and the scars of war. They remind us of the importance of peace, urging us never to forget the ordinary men who stood at Waterloo. Their words are their legacy, and our duty is to listen.